Hey guys, it's Ricky from the Guitar Ministry Project. Today we're getting into part 2 of Guitar Ministry University. I'm going to go over the lessons that I have uploaded onto Instagram. So basically it's going to be chords, G, C, D, E minor, the transitions between them. Then we're going to get into bar chords, how to hold down the bar chord correctly, how to play the major and the minor on the E string, and the major and the minor chords with the bass on the A string. So a lot of things I'm going to be referencing to is going to be the names of the strings. You should just know this in your head that starting from the lowest pitch, so I say low E string, I mean lowest pitch. And low means the pitch is low, so E, so low E string, because down here is another E string, but the pitch is higher. So I'm going to call it the high E string, right? So let's first look at the strings on the guitar in standard tuning, okay? My guitar is not in standard tuning, so I'm going to speak as if though it is in standard tuning. So if you have perfect pitch, it might drive you crazy, but otherwise, just hang with me and I'm going to talk like standard tuning, okay? So we're going to start with the low E string. That's this thickest string right here. Below that, the second string down is going to be our A string. Below the A string is the D string. Below the D string is the G string. Below that is the B. We finish on the high E string down here. So it goes E, A, D, G, B, E down below, okay? So we got 6 strings. Those are going to be reference points. And going this way, transversing the neck, we're going to just have frets. So first fret, second fret, third fret, fourth fret, fifth fret, and so on. And after the 12th fret, it repeats. So basically from this first bridge right here to the neck is 1 octave, okay? Cool trick. Lay your finger on the middle bar between the 12th and the 13th fret and play through and you'll get a harmonic, okay? Nah, just for fun. That's an octave right there. That's a 1 octave we work with. So everything after the 12th fret is going to repeat. Now let's start with our G chord. Basically in ministry music, a lot of times you're going to be playing in G. Even if the song is in a different key, you'll throw a capo on and play in G. So if you play in an A, playing an A flat, you're just going to throw a capo on whatever fret and start playing like that in the key of G. It's the easiest key because it has the least bar chords, okay? So you get in the key of C, key of D, you're just going to start encountering more and more bar chords. That's why we stick with G, because it's mainly going to be G, C, D, and E minor, maybe an A minor. The one thing you have to look out for is the B minor, but we'll get to that in a second, all right? I mean, we'll get to it later in the lesson. So let's start with G. So what we're going to do here is we'll place our middle finger on the 2nd fret. Now another thing is, we talked about in the Instagram lessons, you want to get your finger as close to this vertical bar as possible. So we're going to start here, 2nd fret, middle finger, take our ring finger, 3rd fret, on the low E string, middle finger's on the A string, and take your pinky, put it on the high E string, and that'll give you a basic shape of the G chord. Now there is another G chord where you put a finger on the B string where we're leaving it open in R's, but I wouldn't worry about that too much because the amount of effort it takes to go from this to a G, it starts to get, it's a little too much effort, more than what we need as a beginner here. So we're going to start with this one. We'll get used to this, okay? It's going to be our G chord. Now from the G chord, you have a lot of options. A lot of times you maybe will go to a C, okay? So when we're in this G position right here, going to the C is quite simple because we take our middle finger down to the D string, 2nd fret, and we take our ring finger down 1 string to the A string, 3rd fret. Our pinky we take off and move your pointer finger to the 1st fret on the B string. Take your thumb, place it over top, and mute the low E string because we want our bass note to actually be this C right here, okay? We don't want that low E coming through because that's a different chord structure and it gives a different sound. It could mean a lot of different things in the key of G. So we don't want to do that right now. What we're going to do is just practice this. Bring your thumb over top, mute it, And this also gives you, when you're strumming, you don't have to worry about, am I just going to start strumming from the A string down? You could just go straight to town, strum it all through. Okay? And then another thing too though is, when we're practicing our chords in the beginning, you don't really want to strum as much as you want to pick each string, okay? So we went over finger picking in the first part of Guitar Ministry University. Bust that out again, and when you're playing your chords for the first time, go ahead and finger pick through all 6 strings so that you're making sure that each tone is heard. A lot of times what happens when we're starting out is our fingers are too far back, too far away from this vertical bar. And when we start to do that, then you get ringing sounds like this. So if you're hearing a ring on the string, that means your fingers are too far away from the vertical bar in the wrong direction, okay? So just slide your fingers over. Another thing that's going to happen, your finger's going to start hurting in the beginning. You're not going to be able to press down the string all the way. Then you just get a mute. Complete mute. Okay? So we definitely want to go and pick through each string to make sure we're not getting mutes and we're not getting rings. Okay? So we have a G, we have our C. Another chord we're going to need to know is the D chord. For this one, you're going to start on the D string open, like that. Take your pointer finger to the 2nd fret, G string. Take your middle finger to the 2nd fret, high E string. And your ring finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of the B string. Your thumb is going to go over top and mute the top 2 strings. Again, now we can play our regular strumming pattern without worrying about an A and an E appearing in the chord. You definitely don't want that on the D, okay? There are circumstances. Don't worry about that. A lot of the time, most of the time, you're just going to play the regular D chord, okay? Now let's look at the E minor, right? So we have our D. This is the only time we can go to this special G chord. But still just practice going from this D to this G. It's going to be a little difficult at first because it's a lot of finger movement, but with practice, days, 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, practice over time, you'll be able to just boom, no looking, nothing. Boom, 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 boom. Don't get frustrated in the beginning. It's going to take time. Now we're going to get to the E minor chord. Basically, we're playing the E string up top, the low E string. We're going to play that open. We're going to take our middle finger, put it on the 2nd fret of the A string, and we take our ring finger, put it on the 2nd fret of the D string. For this one, you play all 6 strings like this. So we go E minor, then you got a G, D, C. A good way to practice these chords is to go to my YouTube channel, and there's that song Reckless Love by Corey Asbury. It only uses these chords. This way you can practice going from a C to a D to a G, an E minor in there. Practice that and you can get your transitions up to a speed that you need them to be at in order to play kind of in real time. Now, if you're just looking to play in your room and sing and worship, then of course, you're just going to go ahead like la da da da, la da dee da. You take your time, take a vocal break in between. So, I'm singing the verse, I'm singing the verse, I'm singing the verse. There we go. So you just take those vocal pauses in between your chord play. That way you can practice chords and still worship at the same time in the very beginning. Now let's get into bar chords. Very important on bar chords is, how do I say this? When I started out, I didn't know this trick. So what I would do is take my thumb, take my pointer finger, press it down against these strings, and in order to hold it in place, I would pinch it with my thumb. So the only muscles working here is this one muscle on the hand. That just leads to severe pain. And it took me years to get to a point where I could just, just slam this down, pinch it, and then you play like all these chords, just play only bar chords. Years, till I could do that over an extended period of time. What you want to do in the beginning, we're going to get you to a high level of chord play at an accelerated pace with just this one trick. You're going to take your elbow, place it against the guitar, and use that to push it into your chest, like this, okay? So you're going to stabilize the guitar right here, elbow and chest, and then with your arm, or so with your elbow here, your left elbow and your left shoulder, you're going to take that, grip the guitar, and pull the strings back with your forearm muscle. You should feel it in your forearm. This will allow you to play a bar chord without having a lot of pain in your hand. Another thing to this, check your guitar, and you'll see there's a distance between the fretboard and the string right here. That's called the action. So some guitars will have a high action, and some guitars will have a low action. You can have your guitar that you have right now and say, I want to reduce the action so I can play bar chords easier. Go to your local guitar shop, talk to the guy there, the mechanic guy, the guitar mechanic, whatever it's called. I call him the guitar doctor. And have him look to see if he can do some stuff to your guitar so he can lower the action. Also, when you're at the guitar shop, make sure you tell the guy you want a straight neck. Sometimes you get a guitar and the neck is curved, and that's going to mess with your pitch when you start playing these higher notes over here. So if I'm playing a bar chord here, I'm going to play a bar chord here, I could start to get sharper and sharper on my notes, and then I'm out of tune with whoever I might be playing with. Okay, so we got the correct positioning down. We got the guitar mechanics that you want to get checked out, and it's a lot cheaper than going out and buying a new guitar. You pay the guy like 20 bucks, he lowers your action, adjusts the pitch, if need be, does whatever work he needs to do. And then you're ready to go with whatever guitar you have. Easy fix, low cost, okay? Let's look at the major bar chord with the bass, the lowest note of the chord, on this low E string up top. So you're going to take your finger, we'll start on the 3rd fret here. This will be a G for you guys. Take your finger and just press it back, right? You shouldn't need to use your thumb here, okay? So in the beginning, when you're first starting with these chords, practice not using your thumb. You might want it as a guide when you start to go up and down, but we'll go with this right now. So you play the major chord. So at the 3rd fret, your middle finger is going to go on the 4th fret of the G string. Your pinky is going to go on the 5th fret of the D string. Your ring finger will put on the 5th fret of the A string. All right, but do notice that these two fingers are 2 frets away from your bar, and this middle finger is 1 fret away from your bar. So as we play the G string, again, we're going to plug it through to make sure we get this down on each note or each string. You can play this, and then as a practice, you pick it up 1 more. So you're just sliding the whole chord position, the whole finger positioning. You slide up 1, and now you're playing the major chord on the 4th fret. This is nothing more than the major E chord right here. So the position you just learned, you could take back to your middle finger on the 1st fret, and then instead of having a bar for your finger, you just use the bar right here as a bar, as a place where the string starts. Okay? So now you also learned your major E chord open, just with this bar right here. Now what we're going to do for the minor on the low E string, we're just going to take our middle finger off. So we take this E minor open, and we move it up the fretboard by barring 2 frets behind our ring and our pinky finger. So for example, on the 3rd fret, we bar the 3rd fret with our pointer finger, you place your ring finger on the A string of the 5th fret, and your pinky finger on the D string of the 5th fret. And then we'll go slowly. And you have the minor chord with the bass note on the low E string. And again, Move that up and down. Move it. Move it. Practice. You can use your thumb as support for the move and then release it. Okay? So definitely practice those bar chords on the low E string. You'll definitely need this shape if you're playing in the key of C. So a G to a C is the same relative distance as a C to an F. So if somebody comes and say, well, this song's in the key of C, then you might need an F, just like as if you're playing in the key of G, you might need a C. Trust me, it's the same relationship there. Now we'll get to the bar chords with our bass note on the A string here. What we're going to do here is we're going to place our our pointer finger, we're going to bar, but our bar is going to start on this A string right here. And the tip of our finger is going to touch the E string, but it's not going to hold it down. It's going to mute it. Okay? Now for the major chord with the bass note on the A string, we're going to play this open A shape, which is right here, relative to the bar. So let's look at the second fret. Second fret, we're going to bar it with our pointer finger. Then starting on the D string, we're going to play the fourth fret, and we're going to hold down the the D string, the G string, and the B string with our ring finger. So you're just going to make a mini bar right here, okay? This will allow you to play 4 notes of the chord. And if you're lucky, you just mute this bottom string. Whether or not it's most ideal, it's definitely an easy way to slap down the major chord. Now, if you want to get 5 notes played when you're playing this chord, you're going to take your middle finger over to the 4th fret D string, your ring finger to the 4th fret G string, and your pinky finger to the 4th fret B string. This will leave space for this high E string to be played starting at the 2nd fret. So you're going to get more sound out of this one, or more frequencies you get out of this shape right here. Albeit, I started out with this bar and have never taken the time to learn how to do this one. If I was you, however, I would want to get more frequencies out when I'm playing a chord. So I would definitely practice with this shape from the very get-go. That'll always give you the opportunity to be here and get this high E string played in there also. Now the minor chord is going to be, again, the bar with your finger muting the low E string, and then take your middle finger, place it on the 2nd fret of the B string, or the 3rd fret of the B string, your pinky finger on the 4th fret of the G string, and your ring finger on the 4th fret of the D string. Go ahead and plug that one through. Again, practice moving up the neck so you get used to that. Skip a whole fret when you go. Okay, do the same thing for the major. And practice and try to feel the pain in your forearm and not in your thumb. So I'm just going to show you that you don't need your thumb. Work with that. Try to get these muscles trained up right here. This muscle. Get your forearm muscle trained up. Your forearm muscle is going to be much stronger. So definitely want to avoid pain right here as much as possible. Alright, and with all these chords, you're set to be able to play in any key. As we go on, the next lessons in Instagram are going to talk about key structure and more music theory, but I'm also going to take the time to show you practical applications of the theory so that we're not in a school setting like doing a bunch of stuff. I want to show you exactly how it applies, because you're going to get a song, you're going to get sheet music, and it's going to be in the key of G. And then somebody's going to tell you, like if you go to play in a band, they'll be like, you know what, let's actually play this song in the key of C, right? And then you're gonna capo something crazy like the 6th fret, and play in the key of G. I know this might be getting too far, but just stay with me here. If you start playing in the key of C, but you want to use G chords, you're gonna have to capo on the 6th fret. All right, and what that's gonna mean is you're gonna be playing up on these higher notes, and most of your band's gonna be down here on the pitch scale. And a problem I've run into a lot with guitars, unless you have a super nice guitar, frequencies are gonna be a little bit off. You're just gonna be a little bit sharp. And it's much easier to be able to just be like, oh, you know what? I know the key of C because I learned it from Ricky, how to translate a G to a C. And that's what we're gonna go over next. And so if this seems totally foreign to you right now, don't worry, we'll talk through every steps. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting out some worksheets for previous lessons on Instagram to include worksheets for the lesson we just did. And when we start going on the music theory, there's definitely gonna be worksheets there. Also, I'm working on a website right now, so you definitely want to go in the next couple weeks and check that out, and everything will be on there compact so you can go to exactly where you need to go and get your worksheets. All right, guys, well, that wraps it up for part 2 of the Guitar Ministry University. If you guys have any questions, write me on Instagram. If you want to sit down and have a one-on-one where we could talk about where you are on guitar and where you want to get to, definitely write me. And we can go over and I'll help you develop a step-by-step plan to get from point A, where you are right now, to point B, where you want to be, and even past that. I see no problem with that. So go ahead, write me over there, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to me on YouTube,